You're in a room full of people. Everyone's talking, laughing, filling the space with words, and you're just sitting there, watching, listening, taking it all in. Not because you're shy or because you have nothing to say, but because you're reading the room in a way most people don't even realize is possible. You notice the person who's laughing the loudest, but whose eyes look sad. You pick up on the subtle tension between two people that no one else seems to see. You catch the micro expressions, the shifts in energy, the things people say without saying anything at all. And while everyone else is busy performing, busy talking, busy being seen, you're quietly collecting information, processing patterns, understanding dynamics. And here's what confuses people. They think your silence means you're not present, that you're disengaged, that you have nothing to offer. But the truth is, you're seeing more than anyone else in the room. You're just not announcing it. And if you're someone who's quiet but very observant, you've probably spent your whole life being misunderstood. But here's what you need to know. You're not broken, you're not missing out, and you're definitely not alone. There's real psychology behind why some people are quiet observers, and once you understand it, you'll stop apologizing for the way your brain works. So let's talk about what's actually happening when you're the quiet one who sees everything. Because this isn't about being antisocial or insecure, it's about how your brain is wired to process the world. And that wiring is a form of intelligence most people don't recognize. First, let's be clear about what it means to be observant. Observation isn't passive. It's not just sitting back and watching, it's active information gathering. Your brain is constantly scanning, analyzing, connecting dots. While other people are focused on what they're going to say next, you're noticing body language, you're tracking conversational patterns, you're sensing the emotional undercurrents, you're building a mental map of the social landscape. And that kind of processing takes bandwidth, it takes focus, it takes mental energy that most people are using to talk. So your quietness isn't emptiness, it's concentration. It's your brain doing the deep work of understanding what's actually happening beneath the surface of what people are saying. Here's what makes you different. Most people experience the world in real time. They react, they respond, they stay on the surface. But if you're quiet and observant, you're processing on multiple levels simultaneously. You're hearing what people say while also noticing what they're not saying. You're tracking tone, posture, facial expressions, energy shifts. You're making connections between current behavior and past patterns. You're predicting what might happen next based on what you're observing now. And all of that happens in the background while you're sitting there quietly. So when people think you're just being silent, you're actually working harder than anyone else in the room. You're just doing it invisibly.
Now, let's talk about why this happens. People who are quiet but very observant often developed this trait early. Maybe you grew up in an environment where paying attention to subtle cues was necessary for survival, where you had to read moods, predict reactions, stay one step ahead to stay safe, and your brain learned that observation is protection, that understanding people before they reveal themselves gives you an advantage, that silence allows you to gather information other people miss because they're too busy talking. So your quietness isn't shyness, it's strategy, it's intelligence. It's a skill you developed because you needed it. And even now, even in safe environments, that skill remains. Because once your brain learns to observe at this level, it doesn't unlearn it. Here's another layer. Quiet, observant people tend to be internal processors. You don't think out loud. You don't need to verbalize every thought to understand it. You process internally, deeply, thoroughly. And that internal processing creates a natural pause, a space between stimulus and response. So while other people are immediately reacting, immediately talking, you're taking time to think, to consider, to formulate something meaningful. And in a culture that values speed, that values quick responses, that values constant verbal engagement, your thoughtful silence gets misread. People think you're not participating, but you are. You're just participating differently. You're participating with depth instead of volume. But here's what people don't understand. Being quiet and observant isn't just about what you see, it's about what you don't say. Because when you observe as much as you do, when you see through people's facades, when you notice the contradictions, the patterns, the things they're hiding, you learn to be selective with your words. You learn that not everything needs to be said, that some observations are better kept to yourself, that calling out what you see can make people uncomfortable, so you stay quiet, not because you have nothing to contribute, but because you've learned that most people aren't ready for the level of insight you have, and speaking up often costs more than it gives. Let's reframe something important here. Society treats talkers as leaders and quiet people as followers, but that's backwards. Quiet, observant people often understand group dynamics better than anyone else. You see who has real influence versus who just talks the loudest. You notice who people actually listen to versus who they tune out. You understand the power structures, the alliances, the tensions, and that understanding gives you a different kind of power. Not the power of dominating conversations, but the power of knowing, of seeing what others miss, of understanding people better than they understand themselves. And that's not passivity, that's mastery.
Here's what's crucial to recognize. Being quiet and observant means you're constantly collecting data about people, and over time, that data becomes patterns. You start to see how people operate, what triggers them, what they're afraid of, what they want, what they're hiding. And that pattern recognition makes you incredibly perceptive. You can often predict how someone will react before they react. You can sense when something's wrong before anyone says anything. You can read between the lines of conversations in ways that feel almost psychic, but it's not psychic. It's just that you've been paying attention in ways most people don't. And that attention has given you a database of human behavior that you reference constantly, usually without even realizing it. Now let's talk about the downsides, because being quiet and observant isn't always comfortable. You see things you wish you didn't see. You notice people's pain, their insecurity, their manipulation, their dishonesty, and you can't unsee it. You can't unknow what you know. And that knowledge can be isolating because you're living in a different reality than most people. You're seeing the full picture while they're seeing the edited version. And that gap between what you observe and what people present creates a kind of loneliness. Because you know things about people they don't want you to know. And keeping that knowledge to yourself, protecting people from your observations, that's its own kind of burden. Here's the shift. Your quietness isn't a weakness, but it can become one if you use it to hide. If you're staying quiet not because you're observing, but because you're afraid to be seen, that's different. If you're using observation as a way to avoid vulnerability, as a way to stay in control by never revealing yourself, that's worth examining. Because there's a difference between thoughtful silence and protective silence, and only you can know which one you're living in. Observation should enhance your connection to people, not replace it. It should inform how you engage, not become a reason to never engage. Here's the compassionate truth. If you're quiet but very observant, you're carrying a lot of information about the world that other people don't see. And that information is valuable, but it's also heavy, because you're constantly processing, constantly analyzing, constantly aware, and that awareness doesn't turn off. So you need to give yourself permission to rest from observation, to stop analyzing, to just exist without tracking every detail, because your brain deserves a break from the work it's always doing, and you deserve moments where you're not the one seeing everything, where you can just be without the weight of knowing.
So, if you're someone who's quiet but very observant, here's what I want you to remember. Your silence isn't absence, it's presence, it's depth. It's a different kind of engagement that most people don't recognize because they're not looking for it. And your observations, the things you see that others miss, those aren't judgments, they're insights. They're the result of a mind that's paying attention in ways most people aren't capable of. And that's a gift. It's a heavy gift sometimes, but it's still a gift. The world needs people who see, who notice, who understand what's really happening beneath the surface, and that's you. The next time someone asks why you're so quiet, you don't owe them an explanation. You don't need to justify your way of being. You can just smile and keep observing, because you know something they don't. That silence isn't empty, it's full of understanding, full of awareness, full of the kind of intelligence that doesn't need to announce itself to be real. Here's my question for you. Are you someone who's quiet but very observant? And if so, what's the most surprising thing you've learned about people from just watching? Drop a comment and share. I'd love to hear what you've noticed. And if this video made you feel understood, consider subscribing. We explore the psychology of being human in ways that honor different ways of existing. Next time, we're talking about why some people struggle to relax, even when they have nothing to do. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next video.